Hi, I'm Jeremy, and today we're going to be looking at a light two-player dice game by the name of Kuhlorado. This game's been published in Germany by NSV. It plays only for 2 players in about 10 to 15 minutes at most. It is for ages 8 and up, and I will give you a brief rules overview, and then I'll come back and give you my thoughts on the game. Okay, so this is the game Kuhlorado. It's really largely consists of this scoring pad, as well as the top sheet of that scoring pad is going to be a score reference, which I'll explain in a moment, and then 2 normal 6-sided dice, except for that the 6th side has a cow on it. So all that's going to happen in this game is that players are going to be vying for control of this spot. One player, it's only a 2-player game, one player will be playing X's, one player will be playing O's, and they'll take turns marking off spaces on this board. The way that the scoring work is that the players are going to get points for controlling the borders. So at the end of the game, whoever has the most marks along each of the borders, the top, so essentially the north, south, east, and west borders, will get 3 points for each border. These troughs, players who are orthogonally adjacent to the troughs, you'll count up who has more marks on the side of each trough. The large troughs are going to be worth 4 points for the leader, and the small troughs are going to be worth 2 points each for the leader. Then in this large land space in the middle, you'll look to see if players have adjacent blocks of their marks, and you can have more than one block of your marks. And if it has at least 5 squares within it, you'll get 2 points. At least 10 squares within it, you'll get 5 points, 15, 12 points, and 20 points. And those are all the scorings that are going to take place at the end of the game. And there's basically an advanced variant, which you essentially should play with in a game that's this uncomplicated. After you've marked off 9 cows, you will tally up to see who has the most blocks of 2, exactly 2 squares next to each other. And for each block of 2 squares, the players will get 2 points. So the way that you're going to mark down your squares during this game is by rolling these dice. You get up to 2 rolls, and you could re-roll 1 or both of the dice, or none, after your first roll. So, here a player's gotten a 3 and a 4. If they re-rolled again and got a 1 and a 3, they would have to mark down either a 1 or a 3. So if they were X's, they would X out one of the 1s or one of the 3s. On the next player's turn, let's say that they got 5-4, they'd have to mark down a 5 and a 4. But if a player rolled a cow and a number, then they can mark down both a cow space and a number space, as long as they were adjacent to one another. So here, a cow 1, the player would be able to mark down, one of these 2 cows and this one, or this cow and this one. And then finally, if the player were to roll 2 cows, then they could mark down any 2 cows anywhere on the sheet, as long as there were 2 cows left to mark. So the game will just keep going like this. And again, there's that intermediary scoring if you're playing in the advanced variant, where once you hit 9 cows, you'll do that. And the game will keep going until either there are no more cows left, that would trigger the end of the game for the final scoring that I explained at the start, or until there are a total of 5 number squares left. So whichever one of those things happens first, you will stop the game, you will score according to that sheet, and then whoever has the most points will win. Alright, so that is Kuhlorado. And Kuhlorado is one of 3 games that's been published in this series of cow games from NSV. All 3 of them play for 2 players only in about 10 to 15 minutes. The other 2 are Zum Kuckuck and Kuhlorado, and I've done video reviews on those as well. I would say that this one is my second favorite in the series. Zum Kuckuck, which is the card game of the 3, is probably my favorite. All of them are relatively enjoyable for what they are, which are extremely light dice games or luck-based games, I would rather say. This one, compared to the other dice game in the series, Kuhlorado, gives you slightly more strategic decision-making space than that does. that one you're essentially going to be trying to block one another, and that game could often end in a draw. This one, because of the way that you're scoring and there's more scoring possibilities, you're less likely to end up in a draw with the other player. And if it happens, it's because you've played well, not necessarily because the other player's been more aggressive. So it has like this interesting area control element. Ultimately, your luck is going to be determinant, but you could try to go for those troughs, or you could try to go for the edges, because those corners are on both edges in the corners of the pad are on both edges. Those are especially valuable spaces, so trying to get those is always a smart move. And if you play with that advanced variant, I don't know how advanced it is, it just does encourage you to clump your spaces together, whereas the rest of the scoring wants you to spread out. So it becomes a little bit more interesting that way. It's a fine game for a 10-minute game. It's not going to, I think, blow anybody's mind, but for a few euros it would cost to acquire this. I think that's worthwhile. And I think, like all these games in the series, it's perfectly fine for what it is. It's not going to be the two-player game that you're able to play hundreds of times, but it's something that is fun and passes the time very well. So that is my take on Kuhlorado. Thanks.